Hello and welcome to this first screencast on using Scratch. I'm going to open up the Scratch program here and immediately maximize my window so that I make best use of the screen space that's available. A Scratch program contains sprites or characters that perform on a stage. We can immediately see that the Scratch screen is split into four main areas. On the top right, we have the stage, which is where all the action happens in our program. Below the stage, we have the sprites and stage area. This is where we can add sprites, either by painting a new sprite, and this opens up Scratch's graphics program. It has an entire graphics editor within it, which we'll look at later. Or we can import or bring in a sprite that's already stored on our disk. There are lots of different categories, and within each category lots of different sprites. Or we can get a surprise sprite if we want to just experiment. But I'm going to get rid of that one by choosing the scissors tool and deleting. In the center, we have our scripts area. A script is a list of instructions for a sprite, and these instructions are made by dragging out code blocks. There are 8 categories of code blocks: to do with motion, to do with how a sprite looks, the sounds it can make. A sprite can leave a trail as it moves using a virtual pen, and we can use this to create some computer graphics, which we'll look at in a later lesson. We have blocks to control the sprite, to sense when different things are happening, to work with numbers or text, and variables, which once again we'll look at in a later lesson. As well as scripts, a sprite can have a costume, which is, if you like, a different outfit for the sprite, and it can be made to look entirely different. We can see here 2 different costumes for the cat, but I could just as easily import a new costume for this sprite, which makes the cat look like a dog. So it's important to see that a costume is just one of the outfits for a sprite. And similarly, a sprite can have lots of sounds. This one makes the cat meow. However, I could also make the cat bark. Lastly, if we look at the stage area and move the mouse around, we can see that the coordinates change. The center of the stage is X and Y 0, with the X-axis going all the way over to 240 or negative 240, and the Y-axis going up to 180 or negative 180. But notice that Scratch reports our position anywhere on the screen. Well, a Scratch program or project is made up of sprites that perform on a stage. So let's make this sprite perform. I'm going to immediately grab a Move 10 Steps block, and if I double click on this, the sprite carries out the action. It moves 10 steps on the screen. Well, that doesn't look very exciting, so let's see if, as it's moving, we can tell it to go to its next costume. So it's going to switch between the 2 costumes and hopefully look like it's walking. It would obviously be better if we didn't have to keep clicking to make it do this. So let's go to Control and bring out a Forever block, and we can wrap that around our existing blocks. And the Forever block will just keep cycling around these 2 blocks until the cat hits the edge of the screen. So I'm going to stop that, drag the cat back, and I'm going to add a new block, which says if the cat gets to the edge of the screen, bounce off it. Well, that's working, but we don't want the cat to go on its head. If we look at the top here, we can see that the sprite is currently set to rotate. We can either stop it from rotating or allow it only to move left and right. And that is I think what we really want to do. Lastly, the cat's moving a bit fast. So let's slow it down a little bit. Let's put in a weight every time it moves, and I can drag this in and watch how I get a white line here that shows where it's going to drop into. Okay, too slow, let's change that. Okay, that seems to work. The last thing I'm going to do is put one of the hat blocks on top of our stack here. So I'm just going to stop this just now and drag a when green flag clicked, go on and do this. So all we have to do to start our program now is click the green flag. And the cat's moving back and forth. We could do other stuff. We could add in a drum beat every time it moves. And now let's save this as Catwalk. So now our cat's really dancing. Let's reduce the weight. I could take it out altogether, but oops, it's grabbed all the blocks below it. So I'll have to put those ones back in. To get rid of a block, just drag it back into the blocks area. Last of all, let's stop that. And let's bring a new background into the stage. So click on the stage button here, backgrounds, and let's import a new background. Let's put the cat on the stage. And there we are. Feel free to experiment. Try adding some looks or sound blocks, for example. Have fun.